even when I went prepared that I can live for a month without any job or anything, I had enough money for that. Actually, on a third day of being there, I had zero money because everything was stolen.
Welcome to the Venture-Ette podcast, where women from all over the world share their stories of travel, moving abroad, and creating a new life for themselves, hoping to inspire you to live out your dreams by showing you how other women did it. I'm your host, Venture-Ette, Ashley.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Venture-Ette podcast. I'm Ashley, and I just have to say I am so happy that I get to be here and share these inspiring stories with you all. With today's guest, when I first heard her story back in 2017, I knew it was a story that I had to share with others. When I was living in Hanoi, Vietnam, I met today's guest, Marzena, in a cafe that was just down the road from my house. Living in Southeast Asia, it is so much cheaper to eat out all the time rather than buy groceries and cook at home. So because of this, I was eating out every day. And eventually I came across this vegetarian cafe inside a yoga studio that was down the road from my home. And I just immediately fell in love with the food, and I loved the staff as well. So because I was going there every day, I quickly befriended the staff, and then eventually I met the owner, who was Marzena. And I just remember there was one day we sat down together as I was eating my lunch, and she just told me her story as to how she left her home country of Poland, in her early 20s. She first moved to the UK. She traveled around Southeast Asia for a while. And then she just eventually decided to settle down in Hanoi, Vietnam. And through her living abroad and travel, she realized what she really loved, and that was yoga and wellness. And she really wanted to share that with the people of Hanoi. But at the time, there was no yoga studios. And so she decided to open Hanoi's first yoga studio over 15 years ago. And I just thought, wow, this woman really found herself through moving around and traveling around, and has now really just found herself and is living in a country that she has really grown to love, even though she didn't love it in the beginning. And you'll hear as to why that is. And now she is just persevered and has been able to just grow as a person, as a businesswoman, as a mother, as a wife. And I just think that it's a beautiful story that should be told. We did record this a few months back in February. So I did reach out to Marzena again recently. So make sure you stay tuned until the end, where I caught up with Marzena and asked her about how life has been like in Hanoi, Vietnam, how the government has been handling everything, and how things have been for her personally, as well as her business, to just kind of show that everyone in the world, we're all going through it together, and we are definitely not alone, and we can definitely relate to each other more than we think we can. So enjoy.
Hi, Marzena. How are you?
Good, I'm good. How are you doing? Good to hear you finally.
I know, it's great to hear you too, especially after so long. It's been 2 years?
I think so.
So far you've lived in Vietnam for how long?
Well, altogether is 15 years now.
Wow. Originally, though, you're not Vietnamese. So where are you from? Let's start there.
Sure. That's a good start. I'm from Poland. I'm from kind of smaller city in Poland, the girl from small city, basically, in Poland.
Yeah, so small city in Poland, but how was life growing up? How was the lifestyle in your small city?
Quite normal. To what the other Western countries have. Everything kind of easy, smooth. Whatever, school and friends and everything is kind of in one place. I went to school. I as well went to university in my city. So I kind of never left home. Until I kind of really left Poland.
Said you stayed in Poland. So when you were growing up, did you ever think about traveling or anything? Or when growing up, did you just think you just wanted to stay in Poland at the time?
Well, I don't think I had the thoughts like I want to stay or not stay in Poland because I guess I was just a young person. So I was for sure very curious about life and curious about what's behind the borders of Poland. And as it's Europe, so you always have small travels anyway, since always, because it's so easy to just go to the neighboring country. It's not a big deal, but we don't count that as a travel. It's kind of like a visiting next city kind of thing. I mean, most of my friends, they still live in my city, so they were not really a traveling or exploring type people. They were just happy where they are and like in a community they are. I kind of felt like I wanted to explore more or check, is there anything else or is there more than what I already know? I was always kind of curious. I am till now, really.
Yeah. So, you grew curious, but then when was it that you were like, wow, I'm super curious to the point where I have to do something about it?
Well, the first sparkle was with my English teacher. So I used to take a private English classes, and that was maybe grade 8 and 9 or something. And he opened my eyes that actually, like you could go somewhere, like you could go to England for like summer apple picking or something. As I was learning English, England was kind of on the table. And he just opened all that world, like, oh, the people living in different countries, and actually you can go and visit or stay a few months. That was the first idea, because I didn't have really examples in my family, or, none of my parents really ever traveled, none of my cousins, aunts, like I didn't have any example around me for people doing that. Comparingly, my parents were born, in kind of communist Poland, so they didn't really have much choice for traveling. And then it never kind of got sparkle for them. And this particular guy sparkled it for me. And then when the first kind of opportunity arrived, like for some summer jobs, basically when I would be already 19 and up, some summer jobs, going for summer camps to Italy, to Hungary, to Norway. Somehow I started to kind of go other places for a little bit longer than a weekend. And then eventually, after I finished the university, my friend, somehow she left to England, and we talked on the phone. She was my very close friend. And then she said, why don't you join me for a few months? You can improve your English and so on. And I was just hooked, basically, meaning I just said, oh my God, yes, I'm going. There was no kind of any other question in my mind. So I said, okay, I go. And as well, what helped me to go was, I think, my mom's behavior, or what she said to me, because I was a little bit not sure. I had a boyfriend at that time for kind of long time. And I was like, maybe I should not go. He didn't like me to go. But my mom said, you know what? You go. Go. This is your time to go and explore. And if he loves you, he will wait. And of course, he didn't.
Now you know.
And then that's all started. I just went to see my friend for 6 months. I buy this kind of English school, so to kind of improve my English. And I never came back. That was not a plan.
But so how old were you when that happened, when you left?
I was 24.
The same as me, 24. Crazy. Yeah. So I just kind of want to know, how were you able to move there? I guess I kind of want to ask, like, kind of financially, because I feel like when some people want to move or something like that, they get scared because of like the finances. And I just kind of want to know, like, did you have a job that you were going to do while there, or did you have some savings, or like, how did that work out? Like, obviously the UK is now no longer part of the EU, but at the time it was. So I just kind of want to know how you were able to make it happen that way.
Well, actually, when I went, Poland was not part of EU. So actually, it wasn't very easy at that time when I went, because we joined, I believe, in 2005, and I went in 1999. So from the legal point of view, because I bought that school, I was going there as a student for that school. And that was from my own savings, as I was kind of a little bit working in Poland as a student. And my mom gave me some money because, somehow she really wanted me to go and explore. I never asked her why she pushed me so. I mean, no, she didn't push me, but why she kind of encouraged that so much. I think she wasn't really thinking futuristically that, I might not come back. And again, that was not the plan. And again, I had a friend there who already left a few months before. And she said, okay, so you stay with me. I show you how everything works. And she said, there I can have some part-time job there, which should be enough to just for living. And I said, okay, let me just try. I mean, in a worst case scenario, I just take a bus home, because you buy the ticket both ways. I went by bus, not even a fly. I went by bus. I think 28 hours or something crazy to England. Yes.
Wow.
So I always could come back. I said, okay, I see how it works. If it doesn't work, I take a bus home. That's it,
Yeah. Most people think, oh my gosh, what if it doesn't work out? I'm like, that's okay. You can go back. Like I went back. I had to go back and
Exactly.
then again, like it's okay. It doesn't mean you're a failure or anything. It just means you need to just try again or do something else. It's okay.
Exactly. And I mean, at the end of the day, you have place to go or come back to. So that's quite nice. And then, like I always trust in universe. So if the universe is on your side, and the things will just, settle and everything will be just fine, what you do and how you do. So for me, that exactly happened. I had one kind of bad beginning, I must say, there in England was very difficult. The first month, I was really thinking, okay, what am I doing here? I don't want to be here. I want to go back home. I want to go back to my boyfriend. I want to go back to my friends, to everything I know. What am I doing here, And that was already kind of, I think I went in October, so it was already cold. And on top of that, actually, what happened was we went to the pub, like an English pub, for celebration of my arrival, like a few days after I arrived. And I took somehow all my money with me to that pub, and I put the bag on the floor and somebody stole it. So actually, even when I went prepared that I can live for a month without any job or anything, I had enough money for that. Actually, on a third day of being there, I had zero money because everything was stolen. And then I thought, maybe I should go back.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, of course. So what did you do?
So what did I do? Well, my idea was the first month that I don't have to really work or do anything because I had enough money to at least live 1 month, maybe 6 weeks. From the next day, I had to start looking for a job. So like day 4, here I am on the streets of London looking for a job, which I've never done in my life. I've never looked for a job physically. And that's what I had to do, and my friend took me, she helped me for 2 days to go around some places, some restaurants, basically. After that, I had to go on my own. And after a week, I had a job, basically. And that's it.
Hey, you did it. So you found a job. And what was the job? Was it a restaurant?
Yes, it was a restaurant job as well. I spoke English, but it wasn't fluent by any means. That's why actually I wanted to be there to improve it. So my first job, and actually I think for the first 2 years, I believe I worked there, was in Pizza Hut in Covent Garden. So, around travelers and tourists continuing.
Yeah, no, it's perfect to practice your English right there.
It was great. It was a lot of fun and like new life for me, basically, because people with who I work were from all over the world. And actually, those were my first friends in UK. And I'm still friends with them after 20 years. It's quite amazing. So my few really, really good first friends. And, then they visited me in Vietnam and they've been on my wedding in Nepal, so like we're friends forever.
No, that's amazing. And that's the thing. It's one of those things like you would have never made those friends had you not just only gone to the UK, but stayed there, and it's amazing that because you stayed, you have like this beautiful 20-year long and going friendship. So you stayed in the UK for the 6 months,
but then you didn't go back. So then what did you do after the UK?
Well, after 6 months, I kind of experienced life I've never ever had before. I met people really from around the world, and I was just like so in the element, so happy, and so kind of like hungry for more of all of that. And of course, a lot of fun as well. It's London, and I was quite young, so a lot of, party and exploring things. I don't know. I just decided like, oh, maybe I should stay a little bit longer. I haven't decided straight away to stay there 6 years, but I said, okay, let me just stay a little bit longer. I smelled that I could save some money, and pound at that time, even now, it was very strong currency. So, like to save few £100, that was like, wow, a lot of money in Poland. So I said, oh, maybe let me stay a little bit longer. So maybe another 6 months, and maybe I can save some money to have some money to come back with, and maybe buy the apartment. And actually 2 years after, I bought the apartment just with cash. So,
wow. So it was worth staying. But so also want to backtrack just a little. So when you reached those first 6 months in the UK, were you still with your boyfriend then at the time?
For the first 6 months, yes, but it was already started to be rocky. He was really upset. I am there and I'm not with him. And he was not interested at all. He is not till now, by the way, to kind of come and see me there or visit me. Not at all. He says, no, I'm not interested to go there. I don't speak the language. I don't want to learn. He was happy in his spot and in his place. So the things started to get rocky. And towards that second 6 months, I decided to stay, trying to earn money for maybe a flat to buy with him. Yeah, things fall apart basically. And he just said, no, I don't want to wait for you. I don't know. And like, bye. So, okay, bye.
I love that. Okay, bye. I'm going to just stay here then, and it's okay.
It's okay, because I already was on a different level, I saw things, and he didn't want to be part of what I already explored and experienced. He didn't want to be part of it. He just wanted the old things and nothing changed. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not sure I can do that. So...
Obviously, it was for the better. Yeah, like you said, you were on different pages, that you had different wants in life, and that's okay. At least, obviously, it worked out for the better. You still got to do and pursue what you wanted to.
Exactly. By the way, we are still friends till now as well. So it's kind of cool.
Oh wow, well, that's amazing. So see, like it all worked out. Like wow, okay.
Yeah.
You're really good at keeping long friendships. That's good.
Yeah, somehow yes.
So you ended up, like you said, you stayed in the UK. After 2 years, you were able to buy an apartment back in Poland, but you were still living in the UK, and you stayed for 6 years.
Yes, because of course I started to have a life there as well eventually. I mean, quite fast as well. Meaning that, okay, I bought the apartment, but it was just like when I come back to Poland, so I can have place to live. I don't have to live with my parents anymore. So that was cool. But of course, I met another guy and I had a boyfriend, actually American one from San Diego.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, so life moved on. So, and then 6 years down the line, I still was there.
So then you reached 6 years, because obviously eventually you made it to Vietnam. So what happened after the 6-year point in the UK? What did you decide to do next?
Yeah, this heartbreak kind of point. So, of course, I just decided, okay, I can't be there anymore. I don't want to anymore to be there. And then I kind of started to look, and Poland was somehow not on the table. I didn't want to go back home. I wanted to just go new place. I was really hooked on that. And I decided, okay, let me look for another job somewhere. Well, why I was not ready to go back home? Because in those 6 years in UK, twice I went for 6 months travel to Asia. And that hooked me for more traveling. I was like, oh my God, there's so much more to explore. I really want to kind of go somewhere and explore. And I loved India particularly as well, with my connection with yoga and just the whole culture. I was really amazed by this. So I spent kind of 1 year traveling together, but 6 months, and come back, earn the money for 6 months and go back traveling. And then I said, I don't know, I need to look for something outside of UK. And, I'm not good in the computers at all. So I don't know how I found this job on a computer. Just one day, I really think universe sent it to me. So I was looking for the job on the computer, and basically that job appeared to me. Like it just popped up. And that was a travel guide to Southeast Asia. So I applied, and that was a British company. I called them, I sent the CV, and basically they called me the same week and they said, come for a training, because I had those traveling experience already before. So they were interested in me, and then they sent me to Vietnam.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you went to Vietnam, you went for the training. And had you been to Vietnam before, or was this your very first time there?
So I've been before. That was another reason why I think I get this job, because I've been here. I mean, I was backpacking, Southeast Asia for some time. So I spent 1 month in Vietnam 2-3 years before. That's why they were interested to give me the job. So when they sent me there, they sent me to Vietnam. Actually, they sent me to Thailand, Vietnam, and Cambodia, like the whole kind of triangle here, to be a guide in this region. So I already was in Vietnam second time, basically.
Okay. So then how did it feel going back, I guess, to Vietnam the second time as a guide?
Well, it was very different because I was going with a job. And, it was a moving job all the time. And it was moving between 3 countries or even 4 countries, because all the way to Singapore. And I mean, at first it was not easy, I must say, because my first encounter with Vietnam was not so nice. I don't have a good memories when I came backpacking here. So I was a little bit afraid, like thinking, oh my God, I'm going to that country, which was my least favorite at that time from all the countries I traveled to. But I have this kind of, let's try again spirit. So I just decided, okay, let's try. And, again, I didn't feel like, oh my God, what if it doesn't work out? I always like, okay, I take a plane back and that's it,
Yeah, so you went back and, you said you wanted to give it a second chance. So
correct.
Giving it a second chance, did it get any better? I'm assuming it did.
Of course, yes, I'm still here. So definitely. Yeah, I think after 6 months, I really fall in love. I didn't fall in love in job I was doing. I must say, I struggle with that. It was fun, but moving every 2 days, different place, different hotel, and different tourists every 2 weeks, which you have to entertain. It was not exactly my thing. But Vietnam definitely grew in me. And I'm so grateful that I had opportunity to go back and kind of completely revise my first memory and turn it around, basically. And, I love Vietnam. I think it's a great place to be and to live, and great people, everything.
Yeah, no, Vietnam is amazing. I mean, anyone that goes there or who has gone there, would know, like you said, the people are so nice. The food is amazing. The culture is just very rich, and the scenery, there's just so much scenery. There's beaches and mountains and rice fields and everything. So you went back, you did this tour guide job. So how long did you do the job in total? And then what did you do to, I guess, stay afterwards?
Well, I did that job almost 2 years. And then I knew it. I don't really want to continue. Meanwhile, I met a man who is my husband till now. So we met at work exactly with that travel company. And as well, he changed his job to the office job. So from traveling and so on and seeing each other kind of in a train, he got the office job in Hanoi with the company we work for. And then he asked me if I want to kind of stop that job and kind of be in one place for some time. And I said, yes, because I was tired. I didn't see much future with that job for myself. I felt like I needed something else.
So then what did you decide then? What was that something that you wanted for you?
I felt like I needed a bit more stability, and that doesn't mean husband and kids at all, but I wanted to be in one place. I wanted to be in one place and kind of do more things I loved. And I already by then was a yoga teacher, and I already was practicing quite a lot. And the lifestyle of a tour guide wasn't fitting with my yoga lifestyle at all because of the late nights and drinking. And I really struggled with that. So I wanted to have something more nice, quiet, and do my yoga time.
Yeah. So you decided yoga. So then what did you do to focus on yoga and like have that for you?
Well, so I decided, okay, stop that tour guide job. So I was in Hanoi with my boyfriend at that time in one place, in one apartment. He had the job. And I said, okay, oh my God, what I'm going to do here? And I must say, he was very, very active. So he found me some English teaching job here, which at that time, and actually till now, there's plenty of that in Vietnam. And because he knew about my love and passion for yoga, he kind of, one dinner, he popped out, why don't you do your own place and stuff? Because there was no yoga in Hanoi at that time. Like nobody knew it 13 years ago. And there was no studios or anything. So he said, well, if nothing is here, why don't you start something? And I just like, I don't know. It's like somebody like hit you with a pen on the head or something. I just felt like, oh my God, actually, why not? And then I met a Vietnamese woman who was very much into yoga, who is one of my best friends till now. And we said, okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Of course, she fell through very fast, like the first month, and I stayed.
So your friend didn't want to continue, but you did. But at the time, you were a foreigner living in Vietnam. So how was the process of like starting a business in Vietnam?
I wasn't thinking at first of starting a business. I just wanted to open a casual room for practicing yoga. Mm-hmm. So I think the first few years, I believe first 2 years, it was kind of a little bit more casual and not thinking like really business way. It was just something to do, something I had a passion for and I love. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't really like fully, it wasn't legal. I didn't have any papers and stuff. But when it kind of grew within those 2 years, my husband said, okay, you have to do something about this. As well, we started to have a police visits, like, okay, what is she doing here? It's a still quite controlled country, so they need to know everything. So I decided to, go through the process. And the process was not easy, but manageable. And I hired a lawyer who was really lovely. And he helped me with all the things. It took 1 year to get everything at that time. I think now will be much faster. But mainly for one reason, that they didn't know where to place me, because I asked for opening yoga school and they didn't know what the yoga is. So they didn't understand under what kind of department to put me in. Of course, it's a very different situation at the moment, where basically there is a studio every 300 meters here. So it's a yoga boom in Vietnam. But at that time, I was really the first one, so they didn't know what to do. So they put me as a language school, because they thought, okay, it's a school of some sort, so your language.
Language school, body language.
Could be exactly a body language.
Yeah. Okay, so they put you in that category, but how long did it take in total to get like the paperwork, to get the registration done?
It took almost a year, I would say. But as well, I was not in a crazy hurry and push. Because, I said, okay, as long as I'm in the process, they can't do, anything to me. So I just continue. And as well, another reason why it took so long was because I decided not to pay any bribes for anybody, because the lawyer suggested that a few times. He said, if you get a little bit more money here and there under the table, then you're going to get it much faster. And I said, no, let's do the proper way, I wanted to do a proper way. And I was like, it was my virtue to not to give bribes. As I run this business now for 13 years, I learned that, maybe, sometimes you just have to go with the flow and be a little bit less rigid.
Yeah. No, of course. But obviously at the time, like you said, you wanted to start off on the right foot, and feel good about how you're doing it. So, I mean, obviously it makes sense. So you finally got the paperwork, and what happened? Like, obviously you've been able to have this business now, like you said, 13 years. And didn't you open another location as well now?
Yes, we have two locations and the business is for 13 years and we have two locations in Hanoi and I just every day I do what I love to do. So I'm happy.
And it's amazing. Like, obviously everything led to the point where you are now, but how do you find running a business in Vietnam? Like you said, like the government's very controlling, but why do you think you've been able to be so successful like for so long?
Well, at the beginning, I was very successful because I was the one or the only one. So it's a bit easy to be successful where there is no competition, really.
So of course that makes it easy to start. But obviously over the years, you said, now there's a yoga studio almost every 300 meters. So what do you think really stands out about your business that continues to draw people to your studio?
I believe what I offer, meaning the quality. I always stand for quality, and Vietnam is a little bit off with the quality. So the things which are with the quality, meaning the places, the restaurants, the services, they are always good, meaning people are hungry for the quality, foreigners and as well more and more Vietnamese. So it's something here hard to get. And I think this is one thing which is really important for me to maintain, that I don't overbend too much. I don't go with the trends. I stand by the, like doing things correctly and doing things properly. And many people likes that, I guess.
Yeah, no, you've always stayed true to yourself and what you want to offer people. And of course, like you said, people respect that, especially after doing it for so long. The fact that you've stayed true to you is obviously very honorable. So you have your yoga studio, which is Zenith. So for anyone that is in Hanoi, you have your yoga studio, Zenith, but also your cafe, your food is amazing. Obviously, that's what I went for all the time. But how has it been running a cafe? Because obviously you have yoga, which is one thing, but then running like a food business, like how is that in Vietnam?
I would say is difficult. I'm not sure I would do it again.
Why not?
Well, it is quite complicated, I must say. So because my cafe, it's kind of with the whole concept, the whole concept of studio and the cafe. So it's together. And basically you have something for the body and for the mind, kind of, we call it. So it's kind of like a holistic approach. You not only can exercise there, but you can as well nourish yourself with a good vegetarian food. So the concept, I think it's great. And I love that. That's why, I started it. But like the logistics of running the cafe are not easy, mainly because of the, staff, changing. Yeah, it's always difficult to have. Now it's a little bit easier than before, but in general, actually, not only in a cafe, but just people change the jobs very often. So like difficult to keep somebody for a longer time. You have to really work on that. And just like the supplies are not always kind of you can count on. So today you have, tomorrow you don't have, so things like this.
Yeah, it's very unpredictable, isn't it?
Very unpredictable.
Like.
Yes, exactly. But as again, with my whole concept, it's like I go with the flow and I do the best I can and I do it from my heart. And I just, like, okay, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Okay, I let go, like this is what kind of I learned in Vietnam. Like, if it doesn't work out, not a big deal. You just go somewhere else.
Yeah, no, I feel like you've been that way through your whole life. Like you said, like, you moved to the UK. If it didn't work out, it's okay. I can go back, and as you and your ex-boyfriend at the time, oh, it didn't work out, but it's okay. You're very good at letting go and not holding a grudge or being angry or letting something like defeat you. You're good at just moving on.
I guess much more since I'm here in Vietnam, because I think people live by that kind of virtue of letting go. They are very easy with that. So I kind of learned that I mean, before, I guess I'm talking to you from the perspective and experience I have now. So I'm not sure it was like so easy, I let go. But now, how I see it, yes, that happened this way. But, it wasn't as easy. Now I'm much more cool and relaxed, as well as the environment around me is.
Yeah, no. And especially like you said, you've been through so much like ups and downs and everything. And at the point, it's safe to say you do have stability. I mean, you have your business, you have your home in Vietnam, you have your family, you have your children.
Yes.
And I think because you have just all these things, it's kind of like, why worry about something, I guess it's so small in the end.
Exactly. And it's like, again, like, I really love that in Vietnamese. Okay, I can't go this way, I go another way.
Yeah. No, exactly. Especially when they're driving. It's the thing when they're driving.
The traffic. Exactly. So you never stop. You just find another way, or you just change the direction even, and it's okay. And I think that flowiness, which is here in life, it's nice. I think that's one of the reasons I'm here for so long. It's nice to live life with the flow rather than life stuck in a box and 20,000 rules.
Exactly. And that's why I just admire you so much. Like you really are just, I don't know, I just love your story. Like really just everything you've done. And then just still like, I feel you're still doing so much. So I guess, what do you see next for you? What do you see for yourself, at least in the next year, for yourself or for your business?
Well, just to continue, really, I mean, I have opened a new section as well now of my business, which is wellness. So now we do a lot of wellness sessions, and we have different therapies in the studio, like, well, starting with the yoga therapy, but Reiki and osteopathy and acupuncture and physiotherapy. So we have quite few things here, role thing recently as well. So I think I'm growing that holistic wellness way very much, and it's needed here. So this is, just to continue. And I'm still doing my trainings and courses, meaning that I train mainly Vietnamese people to be a yoga teachers. So there's always, another training, another workshop, and things are flowing.
Yeah. No, and that's amazing. And especially with what you're doing, like you said, the wellness, I see that growing literally in like every country. I swear. It's really growing. So it's definitely a great idea. And it obviously it goes so well with what you said, you have yoga for your body, and then you have the food that nourishes your inside. So of course it completes it by having a wellness part for your mind as well.
Exactly. Absolutely. And it's growing everywhere because it's needed everywhere, because how we are living these days and how much pressure and stress and anxiety we have, it's just unbearable and really crazy. So I think it's a must, really. You need to do something, like, I don't know, like we're going to spa sometimes to kind of treat ourselves. You should treat yourself sometimes with some, therapy session for, whatever it is that you need, but it's important. It's really important.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you're doing that. Like you said, it's really needed, especially in this like digital age and this fast paced age. It's really nice to just slow down and just relax. And like you said, take care of yourself. And so I just have one more question for anyone that wants to make that change, whether it's just like a travel excursion or make that move. What is like the one advice you would give?
Well, at first I thought, think twice if you really want to do it, because from the point that grass is greener on the other side, we always think like that. But at the same time, well, if you feel like, if you have an urge to go, just go and see what happens. Like, don't stay home just because you are scared of trying. So I think going and exploring and trying, it's always good, and nothing bad can happen. Even if you don't succeed, you gain the experience, you are richer for all that. And then you have at least a few great stories to say to your children one day. So go ahead. Don't be scared. Just go.
Yes, I love it. Just go. Just like your mom said, just go.
Yeah, exactly. Like my mom said, just go and try it. Like, you can always come back home, you have a home. So why not? In this kind of life now, I mean, the world is kind of like a global village. I think we connect with people anywhere and everywhere. So it's good to come out and experience some other cultures, energy, people, I find that very fascinating, very much. So come and
Come to Vietnam or
try.
just come
Come
somewhere.
to Vietnam. Come to Vietnam or anywhere else. I think there are lots of fantastic places to live. Vietnam is just only one of them, but I think life is too short not to try things. So why not to try?
I completely agree. I mean, I feel like I've made some of the best friendships I've ever had with people that I met abroad that were from other countries, and I would have never met them had I not just gone. So I agree. You can connect with anyone, anywhere in the world. You just have to be open to it.
Yes, exactly. And again, I trust in universe that it takes care of me somehow. So, I mean, if I do good things, good person, I get the same. So, like, that's my philosophy. That's why I'm not scared, basically. Like, I just don't mind to go because I know somehow things will work out, like whatever I do, whenever I do. Because, yeah, I mean, do the best you can and see what happens. That's it.
Yes. I just also want to say, so, you have Zenith Yoga in Hanoi, but you also have, social media. So how can people follow you on social media?
Yes, you can follow us through our Facebook, Zenith Yoga and Pilates, or Zenith Auko. And then we have a Zenith Kima, which are two different, the names of the streets, two different branches. So you follow us on that. Or our website, like now is zenithyogavietnam.com. But we are rebranding right now to add that new component. So we're going to be Zenith Yoga Pilates Wellness. So that's kind of where we are going. And cafe, it's always somewhere there, but it's not for the...
Yes, you just have a bit of everything,
Right.
but no. But...
Yeah, exactly. Because it's a whole process, it's not like one thing. If you want to kind of live a healthy, holistic life, you can't just take care of one thing. So you have to take care of everything a little bit.
Exactly. And that's why your studio is amazing, because it's like a one-stop shop for everything. So Zenith Yoga, but you're changing it to
Zenith Yoga Pilates Wellness, basically.
Okay,
Yoga
exactly.
Pilates Wellness. The website is in process, but even if you just still continue with Zenith Yoga Vietnam, it still will be there. It will be connected as soon as we have our new website. It will be still connected to the new website and stuff.
Okay. Well, perfect. Thank you so much, Marzena. This means so much to me. I'm so glad for your time. And honestly, I appreciate you telling your story. It's a really beautiful story. So
well, it was lovely talking to you as well after some time. And I hope I inspired somebody to just travel and see, not necessarily move, but if you like to move, yes. And it was great talking to you.
Thank you so much, Marzena.
As I mentioned earlier, I did reach out to Marzena again to talk about how life has been like in Hanoi, Vietnam these last few months, which I think you might find quite surprising, but in the best way possible. So I'm more than happy to welcome once again, Marzena.
Hi, Marzena.
Hi, thank you for having me again.
No, thank you so much. I really am happy that we were able to get in touch today, because I really am just curious as to about how Vietnam has been handling crisis, especially since the US has been quite unique in how it's been handled here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So how has Vietnam handled the crisis over there? What have you been seeing done, especially in Hanoi?
So first of all, I wanted to say that amazing thank you to the Vietnamese government. And that's not something easy to be said, because there's lots of things what goes wrong in this country. But the government has really done amazing job by keeping the country very organized, very together, very controlling the whole situation with the virus from the start. So basically we have been with the virus since end of January. And life started to be kind of, lockdown stage by stage. And right now we are in a good phase, because we finished our lockdown just around, I believe, 2 weeks ago. And life is coming back to normal, and all news are very positive and encouraging, meaning that we have no cases really happening. And everybody on the entry to Vietnam gets caught really for the quarantine. So yeah, life is almost back to normal, really. And that's really thanks to the government who put the right policies straight, like without kind of wasting time. So straight on. And as well, thanks to, I guess, people who straight away follow that. So, the decree is put like Wednesday evening, from Thursday morning, everybody follows, which is really amazing in Vietnam. One of those things.
No, that's amazing. And that obviously gives me hope as to that one day we can achieve that here in the US, but I feel like it'd probably take longer. But I kind of want to talk about as to what Vietnam has specifically has been doing, because I feel like people have really been following orders because they also really responded well when the SARS breakout happened many years ago. I feel like that was one of the first places where the outbreak happened, and Vietnam as well also handled that really well.
Yeah, I think maybe because of that SARS experience, which they had the years back, they kind of knew how to handle it maybe a little bit better than maybe other countries. And what they specifically did, number one, they reacted to it straight away. So that means without even having a big numbers of people with coronavirus, basically they shuttered the schools pretty much straight away as soon as they kind of heard about the few cases coming. The school went to close. So our schools have been closed for 3.5 months, which is not so good a thing for the parents who have to now homeschool their kids. Nevertheless, the priority was safety first. And it really paid off because the virus never spread too much. They put the quarantine in place very fast in the process. And they were basically following and catching every person with the quarantine with the virus very fast. So they were basically catching that person and then checking all the network and then putting that network straight away in quarantine. And basically it never escalated. Really, I think we have around 300 cases in a whole country, but we still were locked, for a month fully and 3 months kind of partially. So it's quite a thing. They just were not scared of making those hard decisions. And obviously the economy, like in every country, is going to be hurt a bit, but they just really put people first.
And that's honestly amazing to hear, because I feel like compared to the US, where I feel like that hasn't necessarily been the case, it's really nice to hear that Vietnam, they really put the people first. And I totally understand
the danger.
Understanding the danger, but also too, like you said, you really appreciate the government, because I do remember how kind of chaotic the government can be in terms of handling certain things. And so the fact that they were very organized and very strict, and people really followed orders because they had that experience, with SARS many years ago, I feel like that's really helped keep the numbers down, as you mentioned, because I think I saw that like in mid-March, there was only 60, 61 cases, in mid-March, which is crazy. And Vietnam has 95 million people.
Yes, exactly. And, and many people are on a different level of education. So there's lots of poor people and, who don't really understand and want to follow any hygienic standards and so on. So washing hands is a big problem here in general. People don't do that too much. And it was really amazing that the whole society, a whole country, they really stood up and followed the government. They understood that it's serious. There have been posters everywhere in kind of every corner, and people social media was very strong about this. As well from the government, they had lots of advertisements like, okay, go wash your hands, wear your mask and blah, blah, blah. And really, from one day to another, people really did it. So that was quite something, quite amazing.
No, yeah, it's truly remarkable how people really came together. And you mentioned how, the government was really keeping track about who was getting the virus and who was in contact with that person that was getting the virus. And because of that, they were able to, like you said, quarantine all those individuals and social distance all those individuals. And I even saw too how neighborhoods of people or people in the same neighborhood, if they knew someone who had the virus and was being quarantined, that people would actually bring things to them and really try to help out those people that were being quarantined.
correct. I think this around the world, it put people back together in their communities, and kind of people took responsibility, that like we all have to be part of it, and we all have to, basically the best thing we can do is to follow what has been said because it's for the best. And really people did it, really. So like, for example, in a lift, we have posters, some information about this and what to do. Of course, the basic as around the world, but like it's in every lift. On top of that, they tell you how to stand on the lift. So like that everybody is facing away from each other. And that's quite, and it should not be more than 4 or 5 people in a lift. And everybody was kind enough and patient enough. Okay, if there is 4 people, okay, I'm not going in anymore. I'm going to wait for the next lift. And, like those simple little things, right? So, and keeping distance and so on. And first of all, wearing masks. But I must say that wearing masks for us wasn't so kind of crazy new. That's why I guess it got very easy adapted, because we wear masks daily anyway on the street when you drive motorbike or bicycle because of the pollution, and as well for the sun. The Vietnamese people wear it because of the sun as well. So we kind of are used to it a little bit as well. So it was quite easy for them to just, okay, continue wearing the masks.
Yes, I remember that too, because some people were asking or were telling me how weird it is that we're wearing masks. And for me, I was like, well, I've lived in places like that. I was in Hanoi for 1.5 years where, I was wearing masks too, but because of the pollution. So it wasn't too odd for me either to start wearing masks, maybe just a little different because it's in the US and not in Hanoi. So I'm glad that things seem to be coming to normal. But how has that been for you, like personally? Like, I know you have a business, so what have you been doing, with your business as well, like in light of this crisis?
So as for every kind of small business, you get hit pretty hard because for the last really 3 months, we have very limited kind of business opportunities. So for a month, we were completely closed. We shifted some part of the business to Zoom. So Zoom classes, for example, with my studio, and that has been good and successful, as well as kind of supporting our students and our community. People were feeling a bit down as well, sitting so much at home. So we did that. And from the government, there has been some kind of easier, I'm not sure because I haven't applied yet, but easier access to get some loan. And there will be some tax deductions. So they are trying their best. But one thing they've done, which was really helpful for me as a small business owner, was straight away at the beginning of that crisis, I believe beginning maybe of March already, they released a statement from government only asking the owners of the buildings to reduce their rent 30 to 50% for all the people, who have to pay the rent to them. And I must say that helped us. And as well, the response from landlords was like everybody understood we are all in a difficult situation. Let's all share the burden a little bit. So I actually got very reasonable discounts on the rent as well, which was very helpful because when you have to pay a lot of money and then maybe you can pay a bit less, anything helps, right? So that was very kind from the government and very kind from the landlords to agree for that. And I heard that many people got that actually. So almost everybody who asked got some discount if they were really in a difficult situation. My family situation is a little bit difficult. We got really touched by the virus because my studio was kind of 3 months on a very, very kind of low speed. And my husband's business, and he's in tourism in Japan. So that's completely still like closed. And that's not for a month or two. That's possibly till 2021, till maybe slowly the tourists will start coming back. But as well, there is lots of assistance in Japan by Japan government to those businesses which were affected. So I believe from coming back to Vietnam that the government tried its best for the resources and things they have in their hands to decide. They did really the best. And I kind of living here 15 years or so, I never thought I will say anything good about this government, but they surprised, I think, all of us around the world.
No, I'm honestly surprised as well, but honestly in the best way. And I feel like if you're going to be surprised about your government, you would hope to be surprised in a good way, and especially during a situation like this. So I am really happy to hear that Vietnam has really taken initiative, they've taken action, they've taken it seriously. So now that things seem to be kind of getting better and things are opening up, what are you hoping to do in this next month or so as, all these social distancing and quarantine policies are being a bit lifted?
Well, I have high hopes that everything will come back with like double strength somehow. But of course, it will take time. So I'm not naive either. People are still kind of little cautious and stuff to, especially to go back to, for example, for practicing in a group scenarios. So we do have that kind of certainty here that we are kind of clear from the virus pretty much in Hanoi. Therefore, I believe that people feel more safe and secure very much in the next few weeks to really restart the normal life. And we are restarting the schools after 3.5 months not being at school from Monday, tomorrow. So I think that after a week of adjustment back to school, I believe that the life will come back to semi-normal. The best we all can hope and do, really. That's the hope. That's the hope, as soon as possible.
Yes, no, and I feel like that's a very good hope. So thank you so much, Marzena. It's really good to just kind of know, how other parts of the world are handling this crisis. And it's really just refreshing to hear about really good positive experience in another country as to how they're handling it. So I really do hope that things go to at least semi-normal, like you said, as soon as possible. So that way we can sooner get to a more normal life. So thank you so much, Marzena. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I just wanted to say one more thing about it came to my mind right now. I mean, there is lots of positive things which came out from that crisis. I think mainly on the reflection part of how the society works and how is our family internal thing going on. But one thing we have learned, I think, mainly from online classes or schooling at home was the Zooming. So Zooming is really cool, actually, and it works. Actually, we just talk right now through Zoom. And I think it helped very much to connect people and just kind of support each other, exactly through education as well. As I said, even doing Zoom classes online, it has been actually a fantastic experience. So that was one positive thing to come up from that. But thank you so much as well, for following up and checking on us here far in Southeast Asia.
No, of course, Vietnam is still, near and dear to my heart. It will always have, a piece of my heart. So I'm definitely love, obviously, speaking with you and other friends in Vietnam and seeing how you guys are doing. And I'm just happy to know that, you're doing okay, you're doing well, and so is your business and your family. So that's really all I could ever hope for. So thank you again, Marzena.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
For more information on travel and life abroad, go to Venture-Ette.com. If you enjoyed this episode, let me know by leaving a review. And be sure to follow me at Venture-Ette on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Safe travels, and until next time.